The idea for the film first came about when I saw Dylan come up into the room. He had this super flamboyant lightsaber type toy. He went and turned the lights off, and he turned it on and started playing with it, and I was like that's pretty cool, and then I didn't really think anything of it, and then like a few days could go by, and all of a sudden this story started to put itself together in my head. It doesn't really make much sense considering I went into this project never seeing a Star Wars movie. This whole story just appeared in my head from what I knew about Star Wars.
I didn't even know he never watched any of the Star Wars movies. He just came up with this Star Wars story, and I only knew until after he pitched the idea, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really cool, and then all of a sudden, I've never watched the Star Wars movies. It's like, oh, okay, that's pretty good.
Pre-production was hard because Alex came to me one day after class, and he's like, all right, so I've got a little bit of a storyboard started. He pulls these pieces of paper out of his pocket, and they're like 2 or 3 receipts from Fleet Farm or wherever he works, and literally it's just like a few paragraphs on the back, and he's like, so what do you think? And I'm like, that's pretty good so far.
It'll be exciting to see someone who's never seen a Star Wars movie before direct or write a Star Wars story and just see it come together. Because no one wears suits in Star Wars.
People might think that you could, doing stuff like storyboarding and shot list is kind of boring, yeah. But if you go into it not really having a set plan, you're gonna run into a lot of problems.
The amount of preparation that was put into beforehand from you guys back behind the stage and behind the scenes and stuff like that, there was a lot of organization, there was a lot of shot lists and all that.
Planning is the worst part just because there's so many documents and papers and everything, and sometimes it's hard to convey and perceive what somebody's trying to communicate just through words. I mean, you've got your storyboard, but that's the only way you can visually convey the story.
Luckily, we had people who were organized and people that followed directions.
Looking at it from a technical standpoint, it was still the same understanding of shooting a short film, so you just take it shot by shot. But I've never shot anything like Star Wars before, so that's one of the things the challenge intrigued me. I'd never shot anything with more than one person myself interested in film, so this was a unique opportunity.
When it comes to working with a crew in a movie, of course you don't want your part of the team to be lacking. You don't want it to be when someone's viewing it, they pick out the part that you did, or they say this part's a little shaky or something like that.
The worst part about the project was the fact that it was supposed to be warm, but it was not. It was so cold that you could actually see your breath, even though it looked super nice out.
It looks great in the footage. The weather doesn't look bad at all. It was just one of those things where you feel uncomfortable, but you get through it because the ending product is more important than being uncomfortable for a single amount of time.
It was supposed to be On the weather app that I went on, it said it was supposed to be 50 something degrees out. 50 degrees where we were going. And we get there and it's like, it's kind of cold.
It was a great day though, because like that prior week it had rained like 3 days in a row prior to it.
And then like time goes by and eventually we start seeing our breath. It's so cold and we're like, what is going on? And even worse, like at night, it was warmer. It was warmer at night than it was in the daytime.
Because it was freezing. And I don't know why. On the phone, it says 55 degrees. It felt like 20 and you could see our breath. It sucked.
I'm only wearing a suit that's not meant to be out in cold weather. Like no one expected it to be that cold. But we got through it.
It was chilly, but everything went really smooth, smoother than I thought it would. It's kind of like magic to see the different stages of the film and then to see how it turns out once it's done with post-production.
If someone is tackling, in the DMT world, if someone's tackling a bigger production like this, I would say to not take anything that we learned as a joke. Many people, when they're doing this course, would think like, oh, well, the stuff that we're learning in this class is what big productions do, and I'm not exactly big production, so I'll just keep it in the back of my head, and maybe I'll use it somewhere in the future. If you start doing the things that you learned in class with pre-production or actual recording and all that fun stuff, it really helps and shows why people do these techniques in a film environment, because they work well. So take what you learn in class and really apply it to what you're working on with your projects, and you will see that you will have a really good finishing product in the end.